A group of students turned into a gang of thieves and caused major trouble for the people by robbing houses and committing serious crimes, including murder. They were eventually caught and taken to an interrogation room for questioning. The mood in the room was very tense because of the seriousness of their crimes. During the questioning, the leader of the gang showed no remorse or willingness to cooperate. In a moment of intense anger, he tried to escape. This scene in the interrogation room reflected the violence and chaos the gang was known for outside. In September 2014, 3 inmates in China decided to escape due to their severe charges. The escapees were Gao Yulin, 50, on death row for intentional killing, Li Highway, 29, suspected of homicide, and Wang Damon, 35, jailed for theft and intentional injury. Their desperation led them to seize an opportunity on a Tuesday morning. A CCTV captured a guard, Duan, escorting Gao to an interrogation room. Unknown to Duan, Li and Wang had already broken out of their cells and followed them. Inside the room, Gao attacked and strangled Duan to death. Li and Wang joined in, helping Gao, and they ended the life of the guard. They then took his keys, dressed in police uniforms to blend in, and escaped from the prison. This triggered an immediate manhunt, and although they used their disguises and the ensuing chaos to their advantage, they were captured within 10 days. After being caught, Gao and Wang were sentenced to death, and Li received a life sentence for his involvement in the guard's murder and the escape. During recreation time at around 10 a.m. at Pinellas County Jail, inmate Cody Jondro took a daring escape route. He climbed the northwest wall of the recreation yard, navigating through the razor wire in just 26 seconds, showing intense desperation and determination. After scaling the wall, Jondro ran across the facility's roof and jumped 11 feet to the ground, a testament to his physical capabilities and the urgency of his escape. He didn't stop there. He continued his escape by climbing over a second fence. Despite his efforts, deputies chased him on foot and quickly recaptured him a short distance away in the parking lot of Golf Car Systems at 5325 140th Avenue, North in Clearwater. Jondro sustained injuries from the razor wire, the roof jump, and possibly the second fence, necessitating medical attention. He was taken to a hospital for treatment. After receiving medical care, Jondro was returned to custody at the Pinellas County Jail. What started as a normal day in prison quickly turned into an emergency situation when guards found a prisoner unexpectedly stuck in a tight space during an escape attempt. The prisoner had been trapped in this cramped gap for a while, suffering from physical discomfort, reduced blood flow, muscle cramps, and the risk of serious health issues. Caught in the act, the prisoner tried to negotiate with the officers, but soon realized he had no way out on his own. With no other options and unable to free himself, he ultimately gave up and surrendered to the officers. The video begins with CCTV footage of prisoners assigned to clean a prison hallway, monitored by guards. Initially, all seems normal. Then, the scene abruptly changes as the footage reveals the start of a prison escape. During the escape, some prisoners capture guards as hostages, using knives to threaten and restrain them, escalating the danger and urgency of the situation. The video ends abruptly, leaving it unclear whether the escape attempt was successful or stopped. 3 inmates, Brian Moody, Sonny Baker, and Mark Robbins, initiate their escape by transitioning from a middle cell to a corner cell in the Lincoln County Jail. They then skillfully climb up to the ventilation system, employing tactics reminiscent of Solid Snake from video games. Interestingly, this wasn't their first use of the ventilation system. They had previously accessed the kitchen through it to stealthily take snacks. Eventually, they find a route from the kitchen to make their escape. After carrying out their escape, 3 of the 4 inmates were caught within 3 days, and the 4th was captured on the 4th day. The video starts with CCTV footage, capturing a man approaching a line of parked cars outside a prison. His intentions become clear when he suddenly breaks into one of the cars. The footage doesn't reveal how he managed to break into the car or how he initially escaped from the prison. The escaped prisoner tries to stay calm as he steals the car. However, his actions are quickly noticed, leading to a tense situation as the authorities are likely alerted to his theft. In a desperate attempt to evade capture, the escapee jumps out of the moving stolen car, a highly risky move that often results in severe injuries or fatalities due to the potential for high impact and trauma. By 2013, Derek had a long criminal history and was locked up in the old Garland County Jail in Florida. Tired of being behind bars, Derek came up with a plan to break out. He got help from his mother, Glenda, his girlfriend, Tamara Lynn Upshaw, and another person. Derek positioned himself by a small window that opened into the prison's waiting room. The fourth person distracted the guard watching the area, while Tamara Lynn was ready with the getaway car. On the escape day, Derek managed to squeeze through the small window, pulling off a move that could be compared to one by Houdini. However, the plan fell apart soon after. Glenda was caught shortly after the escape when it was found that she had been talking to Derek about the plan on the phone. About a month later, Derek was caught and put back in jail, ending his short-lived freedom. Near Tomsk, surveillance cameras caught a drug dealer escaping from his guards. Detectives are now reviewing the video to figure out where the prisoner might be. The Seversky City Court had sentenced 28-year-old Denis Talayev to 10 years in a high-security prison, but he wasn't there to hear it. Knowing the verdict would be against him, Talayev had escaped from his guards months earlier by throwing white powder at them. He had been caught after a successful operation by the Tomsk security forces, which had shut down a lab making illegal substances and stopped a major substance supply route to the area. According to a court representative, Talayev was involved in bringing illegal substances into Russia as part of an organized crime group. However, he escaped while being transferred from a transport vehicle at the courthouse. He threw white powder in the guards' faces and ran away within seconds, even as the police opened fire that missed him. After an internal review, 5 police officers were disciplined for their failure to secure him. The regional police announced a manhunt and checked cars at a checkpoint, but haven't yet found Talev. If caught, he could face an additional 4 years in prison for escaping, but so far, he remains at large. On June 4th, at a jail in Georgia, 2 inmates, 38-year-old Shane Joe Sape and 24-year-old Willie Ames Driver, took advantage of their assignment to trash duty on the prison lawn. While their guard was temporarily distracted, Saip and Driver ran away from the Houston County Jail. Their escape led to a 2-day manhunt. Eventually, authorities found and recaptured them in separate places, a nearby apartment complex and a barn. After being caught, both Saip and Driver faced charges of conspiracy to commit a crime and escape. On a cool Saturday morning, at precisely 9 a.m. at a jail in Union County, inmates Ashley Tyler and Kenneth Lippy decided to attempt a daring escape. Despite being under the surveillance of guards, they tried to climb over the jail's high wall fence in a desperate bid for freedom. They managed to successfully get over the wall and briefly tasted freedom. However, their escape was short-lived. Within a few hours, thanks to the diligent efforts of the Union County Jail officials, both inmates were recaptured. An inmate, determined to escape, carefully approached the imposing 40-foot-high wall of the prison. Taking a bold leap from the wall, the inmate surprisingly landed safely and appeared unharmed despite the significant risk of injury from such a height. Immediately after landing, he quickly moved away from the prison area and utilized public transportation to reach a previously chosen hiding spot. While he initially managed to avoid capture, his freedom was short-lived as he was eventually discovered and arrested. Surveillance footage showed Jeffrey Hope dashing out of a holding cell at a county courthouse. Once free from the cell, he sprinted down a courthouse hallway, with several Hamilton County deputies quickly giving chase. During the pursuit, the deputies pulled out their tasers, trying to capture Hope as he frantically searched for an exit. Despite his efforts to escape, Hope couldn't find a way out and was soon caught by the deputies. Even after being apprehended, Hope continued to resist as the deputies handcuffed him and took him back to a cell. Originally facing charges for criminal trespassing and theft, Hope now also faced additional charges for his escape attempt, further complicating his legal situation. In the middle of the night, a prisoner desperate to avoid capture found an unusual place to hide. He lay on the roof of a van that officers were inspecting. Feeling cold and increasingly uneasy, the prisoner stayed hidden despite his discomfort. knowing how crucial it was to remain out of sight due to the officer's close proximity. As the inspection went on, more officers gathered around the van, heightening the tension and the risk of him being discovered. Despite the precarious situation, the officers did not notice the prisoner's presence on the roof. After the inspection finished, the van was allowed to drive off, still with the prisoner on top. This oversight led to an unexpected escape, making it a lucky day for the prisoner. In a detention center, there was an uneasy silence in one of the cells that made the officers nervous about the prisoner's next moves. The prisoners, looking worried, were gathered as if expecting something routine to happen. Suddenly, to everyone's surprise, the prison gate, which was supposed to be securely locked, swung open. Quickly taking advantage of the situation, one prisoner bolted towards the open door. The nearby officers, caught off guard, tried to stop him but couldn't hold him back due to his strong determination. Seeing his fellow inmate's success, another prisoner, initially hesitant, also seized the moment and ran towards the door, eager for his freedom. However, both prisoners were eventually caught and put back in their cells. A prisoner in handcuffs was brought to a court in Tennessee for a hearing, where he was expected to testify. Instead, he shocked everyone by suddenly jumping out of a courtroom window. He landed hard on the ground outside the court building, but quickly got up and fled from the premises. Although he initially managed to escape, he was eventually captured after a considerable chase by the authorities. Because of injuries he sustained from his jump and subsequent escape, he was taken to the hospital for medical treatment. 2 inmates at Metro Corrections devised a plan to escape by hiding inside trash cans. They successfully carried out their escape under the cover of darkness over the weekend. However, their freedom was short-lived for one of them, as a tip led officers to capture one of the inmates. Mike R.L. Alfani, a guard at Green Flake Prison's medium security area, was secretly recorded on a spy camera partaking in unauthorized activities such as drinking with inmates and eating stolen prison food. Three months before this came to light, 4 long-serving inmates, Gon McKenzie, Musa Mia, Samuel Grola, and Petra Sawani, decided to record the widespread corruption in the prison. They set up a hidden camera in their cell to gather evidence. Due to special privileges, including access to a TV and video recorder on weekends, they were able to install and conceal the camera. The footage they captured was shocking and showed illegal activities like substance use, alcohol consumption, and even weapons being handled inside the prison. Some guards, including Alfani, appeared to be involved in an illicit substance ring. In a particularly alarming scene on the video, inmates were seen negotiating with a warden to purchase a loaded weapon for an escape. This footage revealed deep corruption at the prison, involving multiple officers and highlighting severe security breaches, undermining the prison's security system. On a Saturday evening in the Super Maximum Security Division of Cook County Jail, an incident occurred in a tier housing detainees known for their troublesome behavior. These detainees, who wear specially designed jumpsuits as part of their containment, attempted to destroy their uniforms in a dangerous manner. They used a microwave to ignite a wick, aiming to set the jumpsuits on fire. This act caused a small fire and generated smoke within the living unit, creating a significant safety risk. Correctional officers quickly intervened to control the situation and secure the tier. Due to the smoke, 2 officers needed to be taken to a nearby hospital for evaluation. Additionally, 2 other officers were also hospitalized with injuries incurred while managing the crisis and securing the area. One afternoon, chaos erupted in medium security Cell House C at Lansing Correctional Facility when about 20 inmates began a violent outburst. They engaged in destructive activities like breaking windows and starting small fires, causing several hours of chaos.
Yeah, we gotta get the office one time for the folks. The homie, I got the jacket on.
The turmoil lasted into the evening, but ended by nightfall, as correctional facility staff used tear gas to regain control. After restoring order, the inmates were moved to a different building to ensure everyone's safety and to stabilize the situation. This riot occurred during the COVID-19 pandemic, a time when the facility was dealing with a virus outbreak that affected 14 staff members and 12 inmates. This adds complexity to the situation, suggesting that the stress and tension from the outbreak may have played a role in sparking the disturbance. In a deeply emotional scene in Hijacking, northeast China, a prisoner facing execution bids farewell to his young toddler. The child, oblivious to the severity of the situation, doesn't grasp that this goodbye will leave a permanent void in her life. In a profound display of respect and cultural tradition, the man kneels and bows 3 times to his elderly mother. The mother, fully conscious of the looming loss, embraces her son tightly, her emotions overflowing as she confronts the impending fate of her child. After these poignant farewells, the condemned man is led away by prison authorities to face his execution. In a South African prison, a prisoner pulled off a daring escape from his cell, which had only one way in and out. He managed to squeeze through a small gap in the door, briefly experiencing freedom. However, his escape was short-lived, as he was quickly caught by a prison officer right after leaving the cell. Instead of forcibly taking him back, the officer instructed the prisoner to re-enter the cell through the same small gap he had used to escape, effectively making him undo his own escape. At a critical moment when the prison yard was emptied, possibly due to routine activities or specific events, a prisoner seized the chance to enact his escape plan. As the yard cleared, a white car that had been parked suspiciously outside the prison walls was revealed to be waiting for the prisoner. He quickly got into the car, and the driver, ready for a rapid getaway, immediately accelerated. The car quickly gained a significant lead on the police, making it difficult for them to initiate a pursuit. The outcome of whether the prisoner was eventually caught remains unknown. Under the cover of night, 4 prisoners chose to skip sleep to carry out their meticulously planned escape. The darkness offered them a tactical edge, reducing their visibility to the guards and security systems. They ingeniously fashioned a rope from clothing, a tactic often used in prison breaks. This homemade rope became their essential tool for escaping. Working together, they used the rope to help each other overcome the physical barriers of the prison walls or fences. Their successful escape with apparent ease highlighted potential weaknesses in the prison's security measures. Despite the high risks and the likelihood of a swift law enforcement response, the prisoners managed to break free. Unfortunately, the police response was too delayed, enabling the escapees to avoid capture. Several prisoners managed to break out of Louisiana Penitentiary by opening the gate and escaping one by one.
Já era pra esperar arrancar aquilo ali já, parceiro. Foi Foi outro. Mas o sistema do Goiás. Olha como é que é o Goiás. Cadê o vai, o sistema do Goiás. Passaram todo desgrama. Foi mal. 1-0 pro Pingo. Todo mundo quer 5-5, hein? 5-5, olha lá. 5-5, hein?
It's unclear where the guards were at the time. Their escape didn't last long, as most were caught again, but 3 of them are still missing. Security staff at the Parnaíba Mixed Penitentiary, Judge Ibiapina, successfully stopped an escape attempt by inmates. The attempt happened during a rain shower and was recorded on security cameras. The video showed an inmate trying to climb a pillar and using a makeshift rope from sheets to escape. However, on-duty agents and police officers intervened and prevented the escape. Following the incident, the State Justice Department recognized the issue of overcrowding in the prison and announced plans to construct a new penitentiary in Buriti dos Lopes in the northern region of Piauí. A fresh inmate finds himself in a nerve-wracking situation in his cell. A larger fellow prisoner starts intimidating him, causing the newcomer to feel intense anxiety about his circumstances. He struggles to manage his overwhelming feelings of fear. Eventually, feeling overwhelmed, the new prisoner backs down, bringing the ordeal to a close. This experience leaves him with a lasting lesson, likely about how to navigate the complexities of life within the prison environment. In a bold escape from an Orange County jail, the mastermind began by lifting a sawed-off bunk bed to expose a pre-cut metal screen and then entered the ventilation system. Crawling through plumbing pipes inside the jail walls, these escapees documented their escape using a smuggled cell phone, recording themselves as they navigated the vents, with one even giving a thumbs up to the camera. They made their way to the roof and escaped to freedom. They remained free for a week, during which they recorded themselves celebrating with marijuana and Jack Daniels in their hideout. However, their freedom ended when they were captured a week later. The videos they made provided crucial evidence against them upon their recapture, and one escapee even ended up on America's Most Wanted list due to the seriousness of their crimes and the public attention their escape and documentation attracted. 9 surveillance cameras were set up around the Novo Hamburgo Penal Institute and started working on a Tuesday morning. That Friday, an inmate named Jackson Josue Lino da Silva, who was 30 years old and already known as a fugitive, saw an opportunity and tried to escape by jumping over the prison wall. The entire attempt was recorded by the new cameras. Jackson managed to run 2 blocks from the prison before being caught. Once the escape attempt was captured on camera, the penitentiary services superintendents quickly informed the military brigade. The military brigade then apprehended Jackson shortly after his escape. Following his arrest, he was taken to the emergency police station in Novo Hamburgo and then returned to the prison system. A group of prisoners attempted to escape from their prison unit in broad daylight using a rope made from sheets, known as a teresa. They managed to get out and tried to flee using roads near the prison. However, their freedom was short-lived as they were quickly recaptured shortly after their escape. There are reports of an inmate involved in robbing other inmates using cash transfer apps within a prison. This highlights serious concerns about the access and usage of smartphones inside the facility. Video footage from the incident reveals a more disturbing aspect. A shank, a homemade knife, typically made from metal, held threateningly close to another inmate's head. This image underscores the potential for violence and the severity of security issues within the prison environment. The incident brings attention to the ongoing problem of contraband in prisons, particularly the unauthorized possession and use of mobile phones by inmates. These devices not only allow unapproved contact with the outside world, but also enable and facilitate illegal activities such as extortion within the confines of the prison. During a routine inspection at Sida County Jail, a nurse named Annika Roberts was caught on video engaging in illegal activities. She was seen allegedly smuggling illicit substances into the facility, an act noticed by train staff. The incident began to unfold when video footage showed an inmate taking something from Roberts' pocket, which he then hid in his jumpsuit. This suspicious behavior led to a cell search, where the drugs Roberts reportedly brought in were found. The discovery of the illicit substance led to serious consequences for Roberts, including her arrest. The incident underscored a major violation of jail security protocols. In response, the deputies and jail authorities enforced a zero-tolerance policy against such illegal activities. The sheriff's office reaffirmed its commitment to keeping the jail free from illicit substances and stated that strict actions would be taken against anyone compromising the facility's security, emphasizing the severity with which they handle security breaches. At Cook County Jail, 2 inmates managed to take control of a housing area and maintained it for several hours.
This is in reaction to what's going on?
Okay.
During this time, another inmate was injured, worsening the situation and highlighting the risks present. This incident brought significant security concerns at the jail into focus, especially regarding how inmates could take over an area, prompting a review of the facility's safety protocols. In response, the Cook County Sheriff's Office released several video clips to provide transparency about the disturbance. One notable video showed an inmate, identified as Stevenson, threatening another with a long object. Riot gear-clad officers were then seen entering the cell block, restoring order, and apprehending those involved. The inmates had made their control more hazardous by spreading soapy water on the floor, creating a slipping hazard, and tampering with security cameras to avoid surveillance. As the investigation continued, authorities anticipated bringing additional criminal charges against the inmates responsible for the disturbance. A prisoner meticulously planned his escape, moving slowly and quietly to avoid drawing attention. By crawling on all fours, he managed to stay undetected by nearby police officers. Eventually, he reached the prison exit and successfully escaped, temporarily achieving the freedom that many inmates only dream of. However, his freedom was short-lived, as he was eventually recaptured. In the video, you can see prisoners hanging out and showing off various banned items, including mobile phones. This not only demonstrates that prohibited items are present, but also shows how openly the inmates display them. Usually, if prisoners are caught with phones, the consequences can vary but often involve disciplinary actions, like losing privileges or solitary confinement. These penalties are meant to discourage such behavior by affecting the inmates' living conditions in the prison. Additionally, the prisoners are seen boasting about a tunnel they've dug, which they likely plan to use to escape. At a prison in Sarandi, in the northern part of Rio Grande do Sul, a dramatic escape attempt unfolded during a routine inspection. 7 inmates tried to escape by using the bars from their cells to climb over the prison wall. The prison staff, initially caught off guard, quickly responded to the situation. One of the prisoners, a 34-year-old man, managed to scale the wall and successfully escaped. He was later picked up outside the prison by a silver vehicle, indicating that the escape might have been planned in advance. This incident highlights the need to increase the height of the prison walls and enhance overall security measures to prevent future escapes. At Pibiru Prison, a prison escape was captured by security cameras, showcasing the calm and systematic manner in which the prisoners executed their escape. The footage revealed that although the prisoners initially made a mistake in the solarium, they managed to reach the roof successfully. They then proceeded to jump from house to house in the surrounding neighborhood, as seen on the security footage. The on-duty police were taken by surprise by the escape and responded by firing into the air, attempting to control the situation and prevent further escapes. Despite these efforts and the recording of the escape, 2 prisoners managed to flee through the front of a nearby house, and a third escaped from the back. The Pibiru police station, where the escape took place, is facing significant overcrowding issues. It has a capacity for only 14 prisoners, but was holding 74 at the time of the escape, which likely exacerbated the security challenges at the facility. Several inmates managed to escape from the agro-industrial colony of the semi-open regime, highlighting the need for higher security walls at the facility. Between 10 to 15 inmates successfully broke out, despite the police firing warning signals in an attempt to halt the escape. While some of the escapees were apprehended, others remain at large. This video captures a scene of police cars and helicopters actively patrolling the area around the prison, indicating a coordinated effort to find and recapture recently escaped prisoners. As the search continues, it appears that law enforcement might be too late. Another video captured earlier shows the escaped prisoners already moving freely on the streets, indicating they had managed to get a significant head start. The details of how they escaped remain unclear, but the situation highlights the need for enhanced security measures to prevent such incidents in the future. In the early hours of a Sunday, 11 inmates managed to escape from a mini prison in Nova Esperanza. The escape was recorded by security cameras at the police station and in nearby residences, capturing the exact moment the inmates broke free. The footage documented the prisoners as they jumped over the prison wall and ran off, quickly vanishing from sight. Following the escape, civil and military police from Nova Esperanza and nearby areas launched a search operation to find and recapture the escaped inmates, but their efforts were unsuccessful. Two videos, reportedly recorded by inmates, have surfaced on social media, providing a detailed look at their escape from prison. Additionally, a photo showing the fugitives inside the prison before their escape was also shared online. The first video captures one of the inmates digging a tunnel, which served as one of the escape routes. The second video, likely filmed from inside a cell, shows inmates as they make their way out of the prison. The day before these videos were taken, around noon, 6 inmates managed to escape from cell 5 of one of the prison's galleries, while others are believed to have used the tunnel to flee. Following the incident, 9 inmates from the involved cell were transferred to other facilities in the area. The Intelligence and Internal Affairs Service of CCTV is set to investigate the escape to understand how it occurred and to prevent future incidents. A surveillance camera recorded a tense situation at the Indian River Juvenile Institution on October 22, 2022, when an uprising occurred. 12 teenage inmates managed to take control by stealing keys from a staff member. They rushed into a room and started causing chaos, damaging property, including computer monitors and furniture, totaling about $300,000 in losses. The footage shows the teenagers expressing their anger and defiance by barricading themselves in a room and using smashed desks and furniture to block entry. Special response teams had to intervene to manage the situation, even using pepper spray to bring everything back under control. A video has surfaced showing Jose Rivera, an inmate at Evans Correctional Institution, brandishing a knife and making threats during a Facebook Live session from inside the prison.
You see this? This is how we do it in here. Baby mama's tripping, but she watching though. And she loving me though. She can talk all that she want.
Rivera, who is serving a 10-year sentence for a burglary committed in 2014, has previously been caught with a phone earlier this year. In the video posted on August 4th, Rivera not only shows a weapon, but also gives a live tour of the prison, raising serious security concerns. The incident has alarmed state leaders and officials, highlighting the threat it poses to prison security and the potential distress it could cause to crime victims.
Most of these folks have victims that are associated with their crimes, and the victims should not be subjected to seeing any more of the shenanigans that's going on with these Facebook posts.
100% no cell phone was used or multiple cell phones were used while he was incarcerated, and we believe a drone was used to fly in the tools that allowed him to escape.
In reaction, the South Carolina Department of Corrections is pushing for the ability to block cell phone signals inside prisons and has initiated a campaign to encourage the public to report any social media activity by inmates, including a dedicated reporting link on their website. A prisoner tried to escape from jail through the communal toilet, mimicking a scene from Shawshank Redemption. He attempted to crawl headfirst through the toilet hole, ending up completely covered in sewage. While he struggled to move through the clogged pipes, two people grabbed his legs and pulled him back up.
Sai daí, rapaz. Sai daí.
Te vira, se tu entrou, como é que não vai sair?
Bora, rapaz, sai daí.
Eu tô tentando.
Você tá tentando essa aí? Então espera aí, deixa eu chamar um cara aí pra te puxar. Pera aí. Sai daí. Ei, Peladão, puxa ele aqui. Puxa ele aí, Peladão. Ele já tá... Corre, cara.
Vai que já tá mais útil, né?
Pega vai correr, rapaz. Olha lá, tá parando. Bora. Pega aí, rapaz. Pega aí. Sobe aí, rapaz. Bora, rapaz. Pega aqui, rapaz. É, tipo assim, né? Cadê o outro? É, rapaz, bora. Peladão de roça. Pega aqui, ó. Bora. Moleque, vai pegar um saco, ó. Olha aí, ó.
Afterwards, he was shown drenched in sewage from head to toe, back in his cell after the failed escape. Officer Henry was on duty alone in a prison's deep pod, where she was handing out food trays to inmates, slotting them through the food openings of each cell.
I had started over in our D pod and I was working my way around, so I was the only one in the pod when I got to A. When I got there, the offender asked if he could have another minute because he wanted to put his pudding into a cup.
As she reached a specific cell, the inmate inside asked for an extra minute to put his pudding into a cup, causing a slight delay. During this pause, the food slot stayed open, and the inmate seized the moment. In just about 4 seconds, he squeezed himself through the open slot. Once out, the 6-foot inmate immediately began chasing Officer Henry, who quickly ran towards the main slider to escape.
His tray slot popped open, and within about 4 seconds, he was out and on his feet. I took off, running to the main slider to try to get out.
Fortunately, Officer Henry was unharmed, but the inmate managed to escape. After being sentenced in a Bangkok court, Yuki Yanagi created a tense situation by hijacking a police van right outside the courthouse. During the escape, he overpowered the guards, taking advantage of the officers' surprise and lack of preparation. This led to his successful escape. Yanagi was able to avoid capture for several days, but was eventually found and arrested at a hotel 90 miles from where he escaped. Upon his recapture, Yanagi accepted the consequences of his actions, which now included additional charges for his escape, on top of his initial sentence. The situation in the prison turned into a violent conflict between the prisoners and the police officers. The chaos showed a serious loss of control within the facility. The police were outnumbered by the inmates. so they used the prison's layout to their advantage during the fight, using walls and other structures for cover or to manage the inmates' movements. One of the police officers recorded the events, capturing the frightening extent of the violence inside. To take back control, the officers ended up opening fire at the prisoners in the yard. This extreme measure shows just how serious the riot was and how threatening the prisoners seemed. The prisoners reacted by fighting back with whatever they could use as weapons. During a workout in the prison yard, an inmate managed to start his escape without being noticed. The officer in the tower, who was supposed to be watching, did not see or report the escape as it occurred, which was a major oversight. The escape came to light only during a routine head count as inmates returned from the yard. This count revealed that one inmate was missing, which led to further checks. Surveillance footage later showed the inmate using a unique escape method. He crab crawled up 2 walls in the yard to reach the roof. The inmate, recently sentenced to life for fatally stabbing his ex-girlfriend, added urgency to the situation. It's believed he found a ladder on the roof, which he used to descend to a less secure area and escape from the prison. Previously, after another escape, razor wire had been installed to enhance security, but it failed to prevent this incident, suggesting that the prison's security measures need re-evaluation. The inmate remains at large, with ongoing efforts to catch him. This video shows a prisoner trying to escape from a sheriff and gain freedom outside. This shocking event happened in the morning of January 2022. With his hands cuffed, the prisoner suddenly took off. He broke the car window and sprinted away, running quickly across an empty store parking lot and then into another parking area. It was exciting to watch him dodge obstacles and outrun the panting officer who couldn't keep up. The prisoner made a bold jump to escape, leaving the officer feeling defeated. In Espanola, New Mexico, some police officers unexpectedly came across something far more unusual than a typical criminal. Instead of catching just a criminal, they encountered a baffling mystery. The event, likely a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence, was captured by surveillance cameras at the police station. The footage showed a strange and eerie figure that some have called a ghost. This mysterious figure appeared outside the police station in the evening and left the officers puzzled. Normally tasked with tackling real-world crimes, they were not prepared to deal with something supernatural. This mysterious sighting challenged their beliefs and made many officers uneasy about working night shifts at the station as they grappled with their confusion and apprehension. A surveillance video from Cook County Jail shows inmates applauding Shamari Leggett, a suspect facing serious charges, including the murder of Commander Paul Bauer of the Chicago Police Department. The inmates clapped for him as if he were a hero. This footage raised significant questions both in prison and in society. Was the clapping a show of solidarity, or did it indicate support for a suspect in such a grave case? Could it reflect a distrust of the police or a broader defiance of authority? Right from the start, it's clear that something is wrong. As the footage unfolds, you'll see a series of events that culminate in a tense and significant moment. Prisoners manage to escape from a transport vehicle in a dramatic and daring move, leaving the officers shocked and baffled. While the vehicle was traveling along the Moscow Ring Road to another regional prison, the prisoners tampered with a door lock, enabling their escape. When the officers reached the destination, they were confused to find no one inside the vehicle. This incident is sure to be remembered, especially with the ensuing worry and manhunt that started soon after. Anand, a 23-year-old detainee, cleverly escaped from police custody using a deceptive trick. While being held, Anand concocted a plan to feign a cobra presence in his cell, claiming it was deadly to create urgency. Officer Commander Radard Supar Wong, responding to Anand's calls for help, armed himself with a stick to deal with the supposed snake. Believing the threat was real, the officer was tricked by Anand not just once, but 3 times, as Anand repeated his claim about the cobra during each of the officer's interventions. During one of these visits, Anand saw his chance and bolted from the cell, escaping right as the officer entered. The escape threw the police into turmoil once Officer Super Wong realized there was no snake and that Anand had cleverly duped him, prompting a hectic search for the escaped detainee. Boxburg Prison is known for being extremely overcrowded, with cells often filled to more than 3 times their capacity. This highlights a big problem with how space and resources are managed in the prison. Life there is very tough. For example, one cell might have 86 people stuffed into it, showing just how bad the overcrowding is. These packed cells force inmates to share just one shower, and sometimes use a bucket as a toilet. There are no mattresses, and living conditions are very harsh. With so many people in such tight spaces, the air is thick and smells terrible. The dirty conditions and overcrowding also make it easy for skin diseases and tuberculosis to spread, so getting sick is almost guaranteed for those inside. Every week, hundreds more inmates arrive, making the conditions worse, and any chance of improving life there more difficult. The tour for teenagers in a high-security prison is designed to show them the tough realities of life behind bars. They are told that silence is golden as they walk through the prison.
Doing that all night long, all night. Come on around.
One striking moment comes when they see a cell meant for 19 people, but holding 86. The cell lacks basic things like mattresses and uses buckets as toilets, with no privacy and a very harsh living environment. The teens hear stories from former inmates, including ex-athletes, and those convicted of serious crimes like murder, illustrating how life can change drastically from poor choices.
See how crowded it is? Imagine, just imagine. Are you getting it? There's no love here.
The guide asks them to imagine living in such cramped, harsh conditions, pointing out the lack of love and decency. The goal is to teach them the severe consequences of bad decisions. This man used to be part of North Korea's special forces, and in 2013, he escaped to China. But he got involved in crime there and faced being sent back to North Korea, where escaping is punished by death. Determined to avoid this, he made a bold escape plan. He managed to disable an electric fence by causing a short circuit with a rope, climbed over it, and vanished into the night, all in just 3 minutes. An escape attempt in a high court left everyone stunned. As the drama played out, people noticed that the person trying to escape didn't have handcuffs on. It was far from a typical courtroom scene, almost like something out of a weird alternate reality where normal rules were ignored. The police were right behind him when he bravely jumped out of a first-floor window. The whole thing happened very quickly, leaving everyone shocked. However, this guy couldn't get far and was apprehended. In November 2018, Malika Calhoun was detained at a city hall in a suburb for an auto theft investigation. Deputy Paul, 31, who was assigned to her case, didn't like her attitude. He thought she was being stubborn. When she was in her cell, he asked her to remove her shoes. The security video shows Malika kicking off one shoe, but right after she does this, Deputy Paul aggressively pushes her against the wall and then to the floor, grabbing her hair. A second deputy, who was a trainee, came into the cell as Paul pinned Malika down. The video also shows Paul hitting Malika before he finally led her out of the cell. Interestingly, Malika was never actually charged with any crime, making Paul's actions appear as an assault. Consequently, Paul was charged with 4th-degree assault, but the trainee deputy wasn't charged with anything. Paul pleaded not guilty, claiming Malika had assaulted him with her shoe, and he was just defending himself. His case went to trial twice, ending both times with the jury unable to agree on a verdict. The first jury was almost unanimous for conviction, while the second was nearly unanimous for acquittal. Because the juries couldn't reach a unanimous decision, the prosecutors decided not to go for a third trial. As a result, Paul is now a free man. This intense scene from Kentucky shows an inmate making a daring escape by clinging to the side of a moving police car on the highway. He holds on as the car speeds along, waiting for the right moment to make his move. When the car finally slows down, he jumps off and runs towards the trees by the road.
The car begins to slow down. I would say he was at 40 miles an hour or so. The gentleman jumps out.
However, after escaping, he kidnaps 2 people and forces them to drive him to another location in the city. A prison guard was caught with contraband taped to his body at the Swap Correctional Center in Kimberly.
Hermadal, you are lucky, sir. You are lucky. I'm not your son. You are lucky. I'm not your son.
He had turned his uniform into a makeshift hiding place for these illegal items. His scheme came to light when his fellow officers, acting on a tip, quickly intervened. It was like a real-life cops and robbers scenario, but this time, the guard was playing both sides.
Are you my father?
I'm telling you.
Are you my father?
I can be your father.
You are nonsense, man. I'm telling you. Not be my father.
Eventually, the guard was caught, and the hidden contraband was exposed. It certainly wasn't a typical day at work, and it leaves one wondering how he ever thought he could get away with such a plan. Perhaps he's seen too many prison escape movies. Let's look at a surprising prison escape in an Australian state where a fugitive made his way out in an unusual manner. Caught on a security camera, Jason Burton daringly escaped by climbing down from an air vent that was several meters high. His quick and well-thought-out plan enabled him to successfully escape the prison. After getting out through the vent, Burton carefully climbed down to the walkway, making sure he wasn't noticed. He then walked away calmly and was finally free. In this video, a person with a very slim build uses this to their advantage to escape from prison. The person who was in jail for theft didn't let being in a cell stop them. Despite the tough situation, they carefully planned and made a daring escape. They managed to squeeze through a narrow prison window without the guards noticing. Just like that, he was free, making a very close escape. Working the night shift at Travis County Jail in Austin, where anything can happen, officers deal with all sorts of issues from small disturbances to aggressive suspects.
Are you listening to me? I have nothing!
On this particular night, a woman in custody becomes very upset, leading to a heated argument with the officers. She questions how she's being treated and why certain actions are necessary. The officers try to defuse the situation by asking her to cooperate. As her agitation continues, the officers decide to use a restraint chair to secure her.
Other than the fact that you're not even supposed to listen to me. No, tell me.
There you go.
See?
That works.
Why don't you tell me what you want?
Already got blood on you.
Throughout this, the woman shows a lot of emotion, ranging from frustration to fear. The officers stay composed as they carry out their duties. Imagine this. You're at a police station and right in front of you, a tense escape takes place, all caught on camera. The person in question had committed a crime by stealing a battery. You'd think this might just get a minor punishment or maybe probation, but what happened next was shocking. He decided to really go for it and jumped from the second floor of the police station, landing with a loud crash on a car parked below. Then he quickly got up and ran off as fast as he could. Picture this. In a normally quiet prison, a surprising event is caught on the prison's surveillance cameras. A drone flies into the building and drops something off for the inmates. This happened in a Cleveland, Ohio prison, where a camera recorded an inmate looking up to catch something dropped by the drone. The item, which is black, is quickly picked up by the inmate, who then hides it under his shirt and walks away. It turns out that the dropped item contained some illicit substances and a cell phone. This shocking video shows two inmates working on an escape plan right under the noses of security cameras. They carefully prepare for what seems like an impossible task. With boldness, they throw a makeshift rope out of the jail, clearly planning to escape. Everyone is wondering what's going on in the control room because, despite the escape happening in broad daylight, there's no quick response from the authorities. The inmates carry out their plan, without setting off any alarms. This inmate shows off a machete that looks like it's from the video game Fallout 4. It's a rugged, makeshift weapon that seems like it was crafted by a skilled blacksmith.
What's up, bro? Little fresh from his old home? Yeah, you missing one thing though. Where the machete at? Hey, what you told him to get him? Oh, hell no. I don't even know you niggas anyway. God.
Despite his talent, this guy is still not free. Imagine being in court and seeing this video game-inspired machete as evidence. It's like bringing a bit of the video game's post-apocalyptic drama into the courtroom. This case really shows the foolishness of these criminals, filming themselves waving a weapon around with another accomplice and capturing it all on video illegally. It's a clear way to guarantee a longer stay in prison. In a high-pressure situation in Queensland, police had a hard time catching two offenders on the run in Townsville. During the chase, sirens blaring and lights flashing, the two offenders burst out of the bushes, ran across the road, and jumped into a river. To try to get away from the police. The intense moment they were caught was captured on police cameras. The officers managed to arrest one, Al Gartiers, and later, the second offender was caught in Mount Isa, bringing a close to the tense operation. We have footage from a surprise raid at Polesmore Prison. The tactical team arrived early in the morning, catching everyone off guard. Their goal wasn't just a routine check. They were searching for contraband. They found cell phones, sharp objects, and even some illicit substances, like stumbling upon a hidden stash meant for a party. The correctional officers thoroughly searched every cell, uncovering all sorts of items typically not allowed inside.
Like drugs, and we were able to get those that were there without.
It was like they struck gold with all the contraband they found, making sure no cell was left unchecked. In a New Mexico jail, an unexpected series of events led to a dramatic 5-day manhunt after 3 inmates escaped. It all happened quickly on the morning of June 15th. Security footage from the jail shows the prisoners walking down a hallway until one of them used a set of keys to open a locked door, allowing them to escape. Another camera caught them casually walking away from the jail dressed in plain white clothes, but the real shock came from inside the jail. A camera in the control room focused on a jittery jail guard who looked very nervous. It later turned out that she had a crucial role in helping the inmates escape. In a tense incident at St. Francois County Jail in Farmington, Missouri, 5 inmates escaped using a water pipe. They are now on the run from the law. Surveillance footage captured 2 of the inmates fleeing into a nearby corporation parking lot, searching for a way to further their escape. Shortly after, they found a black sedan to steal. As they drove toward the parking lot exit, the gate opened and the remaining 3 inmates joined them in the stolen sedan. It's not common to see prisoners recording their own escape, but that's exactly what happened in Orange County. These inmates had cell phones and used them freely. They moved through vents and pipes like it was a live-action Mario Brothers game, with one even giving a cheeky thumbs up. On the roof, one of them took a selfie, probably to capture the moment of this incredible escape. However, their freedom was short-lived. After just a week, they were caught and put back in prison. The FSN crew decides to act like fashion police with his clothes. They take his stuff and tell him to wear the clothes of another inmate who has a lower social status. Yes, that's right. They're essentially making him dress like he's less important.
Одевайте вещи.
Props to Isoff, though. He refuses to wear someone else's clothes. And what happens next? Not surprisingly, they turn to physical violence and even use some serious force, known as special means.
Спецсредства. Вещи оденьте. Вещи оденьте свои. Вы сейчас следуйте применяем.
This isn't just some twisted reality TV, it's a clear violation of human rights. The project Gulago.net is urging Russian authorities to step in, look into this craziness, and put a stop to these FSN employees who think it's okay to play dress-up games and use violence. On March 17, 2013, 35-year-old Christopher Lopez died in San Carlos Correctional Facility in Pueblo, Colorado. He was suffering from hyponatremia, a condition caused by low sodium levels in the blood, which can result from the psychotropic medication he was forced to take. Despite his seizures, prison staff mistook his unresponsiveness for non-cooperation and restrained him in a chair, ignoring his medical needs. This tragic event, captured in 6 hours of video, showed staff, including guards and a mental health clinician, joking and laughing while Lopez lay dying. Guards threatened him and later forcefully moved him to a restraint chair, ignoring his obvious medical distress and seizures. Despite visible signs of severe health issues, no immediate medical action was taken. Lopez eventually died after multiple seizures, and his body was found near the cell toilet. His family sued the state of Colorado, settling for $3 million, but the loss and the preventable nature of his death left deep scars. In Bridewell, an inmate was waiting in a holding tank to be arraigned, while nearby, a deputy was releasing people after checking their names against a list to make sure only the right individuals were set free. But here's where things got interesting. During his careful check, the deputy noticed a name that shouldn't have been on the release list. He quickly told the inmate to turn around and go back to his cell, then signaled to another officer to shut the cell door. However, the story takes a surprising turn. The inmate casually walked out of his open cell, slipping by the officers unnoticed. With the skill of someone who knows how to escape, he blended in with a group of inmates being released, walked with them to the property area, and just strolled out with them as if he was simply another person returning to the outside world. Did you know there was a prison in Venezuela that had its own zoo, pool, and even a nightclub? It sounds unbelievable, but it's true. However, the government has just put an end to this gang-controlled luxury. The Tacoron prison, which was like a high-end resort run by the Aragua gang, is now under government control. A huge operation involving 11,000 security personnel was launched to take over from the gang. Journalists have reported on this setup after the government decided it was time for a change. The Interior Minister, Remedia Tabalo, announced on state TV that the inmates are being moved to another facility. Around 1 a.m. on June 7, 2022, at the Hillsborough County Detention Center, an inmate named Bridget Harvey told Deputy Lillian Jimenez that another inmate, April Colvin, needed help in the women's bathroom. As they went to check on Colvin, Harvey attacked Deputy Jimenez from behind with a pillowcase around her neck in an attempt to choke her. During the attack, other inmates intervened, removing the pillowcase and freeing Jimenez until an emergency response team arrived. Jimenez managed to call for help during the attack, but sustained minor neck injuries. The response team quickly restrained Harvey and took her away. She later admitted to planning the attack and had even sharpened a comb with her teeth to use as a weapon against Jimenez. Harvey was then charged with aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer with a weapon, bringing contraband into the detention facility, and 2 counts of escape. April Colvin was charged as a co-conspirator in the attack. This shocking video captures an intense escape attempt as a group of prisoners are being transported. It starts with one prisoner boldly trying to escape. Interestingly, the police officers seem quite relaxed about it, almost as if they're underestimating how serious the situation is. Now, focusing on the details, this guy is heavily restrained with shackles on his wrists and ankles, possibly even one of those restrictive black boxes that make escaping very difficult. They've secured him extremely tightly, leaving no chance for any dramatic escape tricks. These images from high-security prisons in Egypt show a severe overcrowding issue, with 16 prisoners packed into cells meant for just 4. The conditions are terrible: no beds, no water for up to 12 hours, and messy cells. Prisoners are only allowed 1 hour a day for exercise. During a tour of a solitary confinement cell, we saw 3 people squeezed into a tiny 2x1, 5-meter space, using a blanket for a bit of privacy. It's a very grim situation. Reports have emerged of torture, random arrests, and forced confessions. Amnesty International confirms that thousands are being held without any legal process, without seeing a judge or having a lawyer, kept in dreadful conditions and continually given detention orders, leaving them no chance at a fair trial. The video captures the arrest of Casey White, an Alabama murder suspect, after he was on the run for 12 days. His capture happened dramatically in Indiana. In the video, Casey, who is unusually tall at 6'9", is shown being detained and searched on the hood of a patrol car. His arrest was the culmination of intense efforts by law enforcement officers.
In her hand?
Yes,
all right, watch it.
She's still breathing. I see chest rise.
However, the situation took a tragic turn when Vicky White, a prison guard involved in the chase, inflicted a fatal wound on herself in the car after a high-speed pursuit. She was rushed to the hospital, but her condition worsened quickly, and she passed away. In an effort to stop the use of illegal items in prisons, Deputy Minister Thabang Mahler, along with the gang's emergency support team, carried out a surprise raid at the Johannesburg Correctional Center.
Especially objects and instruments that can be used by inmates to hurt each other. I am happy with the,
Deputy Minister Mahler took a direct role in tackling the issue of contraband in these facilities. The raid was designed to protect the safety and security of both inmates and staff, as contraband poses a real danger to everyone in prison and can be used to cause harm.
It's not only here in Gauteng, in all the 6 regions of the country. The head of security has just arrived from the Eastern Cape. The same thing is happening.
Working with the gang's emergency support crew, they thoroughly searched the Johannesburg Correctional Center, looking for weapons, illicit substances, and other illegal items. This operation was all about making the prison a safer place for everyone there. During an unexpected raid at Liaukop Prison in Johannesburg, the Department of Correctional Services found a bunch of illegal items, catching inmates by surprise.
Not have been brought to our attention, and it helped us have a good picture of what the state of affairs is.
The raid revealed various contraband, showing a worrying situation in the prison. The footage from the raid showed a booming trade of daggers inside the prison walls. They also found shanks, which are homemade weapons, raising major security concerns.
Strikingly here, the amount of dagga business here, the market is very, active. But not only that.
The most shocking discovery was the widespread smuggling of cell phones into the facility. The video displayed a large number of seized phones, highlighting the difficulty authorities face in controlling communication within the prison. On March 27, 2021, a very unusual event happened in an Oklahoma County detention center. Curtis Williams, 34, along with 2 other inmates, started a riot and took a jailer named Daniel McKay hostage. Williams was in jail for rape and weapon possession charges. The riot started after inmates complained about poor conditions like no running water and bad food. During the riot, 2 inmates, including Williams, decided to live stream the whole situation. Other inmates joined in, destroying property and attacking McQuay. He was beaten and stabbed with a makeshift knife. Authorities learned about the crisis when viewers of the live stream called emergency services. When officers arrived, they used lethal force on Williams as he threatened McKay with a knife at the top of a stair landing. After Williams was incapacitated, McKay fell down the stairs but was rescued by officers and taken to the hospital with injuries that were not life-threatening. Williams was the 5th inmate to die in that jail in 2021, a place known for its problems like high staff turnover, overcrowding, and previous escapes. It was a very challenging environment for jailers like McKay. The officers who opened fire at Williams were placed on administrative leave as authorities believed they were in the wrong. This incident turned the prison into a battleground and was broadcast live, which is something highly unusual. Fulton County Detention Officer Kawana Jenkins was involved in inappropriate activities with an inmate, which led to her arrest on March 22, 2023. A video that went viral showed her engaging in lewd acts with the inmate. This incident highlights a deeper issue. Jenkins had a long-standing relationship with the inmate and even helped him smuggle a cell phone and other contraband into the prison. This cell phone was used to record the compromising video. In the video, Jenkins is seen in an office inside the prison, interacting inappropriately with the inmate. The video somehow reached social media, causing a major scandal. As a result, the Fulton County Sheriff ordered a cell raid where they found the cell phone and another video showing Jenkins in more inappropriate behavior with the inmate. Jenkins was subsequently fired and arrested. She faced multiple charges, including violating her oath as a public officer, improper sexual contact, providing an inmate with unauthorized items, cruelty to inmates, and reckless conduct. While there is no information on her sentencing yet, she potentially faces a significant prison term. In November 2009, a 31-year-old woman from New Orleans named Tori Smith made a dramatic escape from Central Jail, going unnoticed. She had been brought to the jail just 2 hours earlier to be booked for aggravated battery related to an incident with her boyfriend. During her intake, a New Orleans police officer forgot to lock 2 critical doors leading to the holding area. This officer was distracted, trying to retrieve an affidavit he had left in the jail paperwork. Security footage showed the officer entering the jail, holding an outside door and not allowing it to close completely, which prevented the lock from engaging. He made the same mistake with an interior door. Shortly after, Smith, having told jail staff she was going to the bathroom, was seen on video walking through these unlocked doors, pushing open the outer door of the jail and running away. She was caught on camera scaling an outside fence and then running down the street. A jail nurse spotted her climbing the fence and alerted the deputies. However, Smith's freedom was brief, as she was caught the next day at an apartment complex on Crowder Boulevard. She was then taken back to jail and rebooked on the original battery charge and an additional charge of simple escape. This event highlights the unpredictable nature of prison security. This prisoner was in court under the watch of a deputy who, following standard procedure, removed his handcuffs and leg shackles. But what happened next was unexpected. In a moment, he quickly dodged the deputy tasked with watching him, sparking an intense chase through the courthouse corridors. His brief taste of freedom ended when the sheriff's office responded quickly. They immediately started a search operation that lasted several hours and covered a large area. Eventually, the prisoner was found and taken back into custody by the authorities. The U.S. Attorney's Office has charged 83 people who are part of a gang. They were running substance trafficking and violent operations from within LA County jails. For the U.S. Attorney, this is a significant blow to the Mexican Mafia. Their communication failures helped the authorities take down the gang leaders in jail. The investigation, called Operation Dirty Thirds, revealed their operation. They smuggled illicit substances into jail, sold them first, and then sent the money directly to the mafia leader. An unwatched surveillance camera caught Alonzo Perez as he managed to break free from his handcuffs while in police custody. Amazingly, when the police came back into the room, they didn't notice that the handcuffs had been tampered with. They made the surprising choice to leave him alone for a long 40 minutes. During this time, Perez saw his chance and took it, making a bold escape that was hard to believe. This video shows the recapture of an inmate who had escaped from Wood County, Ohio. After being on the run for 2 weeks, he was found by police at Wood County Hospital early in the morning at 3:30 a.m.
Coming from just under Heights, Madison Heights.
What are you doing, man?
The inmate, Christopher Eldridge, was located in Frenchtown Township, but initially avoided capture by giving a fake name and claiming he had been at a party.
Hey, can you have a seat in the back of my car real quick?
For what? I didn't do nothing.
You're resembling someone that we're looking for.
His excuse didn't work, and police quickly detained him because he matched the description of a wanted fugitive. The officers then took Eldridge into custody. Here's what happened during a raid at Westville Prison in Durban. The Justice and Correctional Services Minister, Ronald Lamola, and his emergency support teams went to check on what the inmates were hiding.
My name is Ro. And another
they discovered that the inmates had cleverly used the light fixtures in their cells to hide cell phones and other electronic devices.
The raids are conducted very oftenly, as you will have seen that this has been a difficult area of mine.
Imagine Minister Lamola's surprise when he found these cleverly disguised hiding spots. The entire team was amazed by the inmates' creativity. It was like playing a real-life game of hide-and-seek with contraband items. It turns out that even a simple light fixture can serve as a secret stash for prohibited items. In a bold security breach at a prison in Paso Fundo, captured on CCTV, a pickup truck smashed through the gate without regard for safety. The footage shows the truck breaking the barrier, providing a way for prisoners to escape. A few of these prisoners were arrested while others still remain at large. In the Maranhão prison, chaos broke out when 2 inmates were injured under unclear circumstances. Meanwhile, a potential rebellion was prevented by the quick action of security forces. As the situation unfolded, the prison wardens made a key error by not handcuffing the prisoners while escorting them back to their cells. 2 inmates casually walked past the security cameras, while 3 others devised a bold plan. They pretended one of them was hurt and suddenly attacked the guards. Luckily, the officers quickly managed the situation and stopped it from getting worse. In April 2018, 19-year-old Terry Whitehead, an inmate at the Louisville Metro Department of Correction, lost consciousness in his cell after being hit in the face and head. The injuries came from a fight with corrections officers David Schwartz and Donna Gentry. They claimed Whitehead had attacked Schwartz, but another officer disputed this, calling it a lie. Initially, prison officials were unsure who to believe, until they discovered that Officer Devin Edwards had accidentally turned on his body camera during the incident, revealing a cover-up. The footage showed Whitehead in handcuffs, trying to explain himself while Schwartz made threatening gestures close to him.
Whitehead, what are you doing, man? What did I do, bro? I ain't never had a problem out here. Why you gonna spit on us? Sergeants come around, you know how this is. Just take this truck.
Bro, I swear to God,
just
bro.
take the.
I mean, bro, you know I don't give y'all problems like that, bro. I do not give you problems like that, Schwartz, bro. You know, bro.
All you had to do is take the strings down, dude.
I'll take them down next time, bro. Y'all ain't have no problem like me, bro. I swear to God, bro. You know, second shift, bro. You know, I try my hardest.
Keep your leg down. Keep your leg down.
I try my hardest. Nah, bro, I'm straight. I don't want no medical.
You want decon out your eyes?
I need my ass, though.
While Whitehead was still talking to the officers in the holding cell, a noise outside distracted them, and they found Schwartz in a fit of rage, punching walls and slamming metal doors.
Hey, Em.
What?
You know what I'm saying, bro?
I'm not mad, dude. It's business as usual, but you seen her come around.
As a result of the incident, Schwartz and Edwards were fired, and their supervisor, Gentry, was demoted from sergeant to officer for her role in the cover-up. They all pleaded guilty to various charges, including violating a detainee's rights and writing false reports. Schwartz was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Gentry received 8 months of home confinement, and Edwards got 2 years of probation. In a bold escape attempt, 2 prisoners ran for it while being moved from a police car to the jail entrance.
De repente, descendo e fugir. O policial estava atento, partiu atrás. Olha só, eles estão algemados um no outro.
The video shows them sprinting from the officers guarding them, clearly desperate as they raced down the sidewalk towards freedom. However, their escape was suddenly stopped when they unexpectedly ran into a tree.
Na porta da delegacia, em governador Valadares é que chegaram, os outros agentes da Polícia Civil para poder recapturar.
The shock of the collision caused them to stumble and lose their balance, allowing the officers to quickly catch them and foil their escape attempt. 3 inmates at an Oklahoma County detention center decided to make their own food using a hibachi-style grill. They cooked meats and vegetables, had illicit substances, and felt great about it. One of them even streamed the event live on Facebook using a contraband phone.
That nigga said, we gonna get you when they not with you. Said, you don't even have no bars. You're a nobody. Said, we got, this was, you see that? You know what I'm saying? That's how we do this up in the county, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say where we at, but man, this is the real deal, Holyfield. Y'all niggas eating trays, man. We getting paid, man.
The video quickly became popular online. Jail officials soon identified all 3 inmates involved. They were charged with possessing contraband. A search of the jail afterward turned up 23 cell phones, illicit substances, cigarettes, a used syringe, and several homemade weapons. It's likely that these 3 inmates faced serious consequences for their actions. In this video, a man is caught in the act of trying to smuggle illicit substances into Pau dos Ferros Regional Prison in Brazil. Security cameras spot him just as he's about to throw a package over the wall. It turns out he was already under surveillance as he attempted to enter the facility. The guards quickly respond to the situation and confront him at the prison gates. Inside the package, they find 310 grams of illicit substances. The man, Eduardo Barrosa de Sousa Filho, is quickly arrested. In a startling incident, a prisoner's escape attempt quickly turned into a distressing situation. The prisoner got stuck in a hole in the jail cell door while trying to escape. Despite efforts to get him out, he remained trapped, his cries filling the prison. Rescue attempts were frantic as his hips were left hanging in midair and he cried out in pain. After a prolonged struggle, they finally managed to free him. It seems unlikely he'll attempt something like this again. In Campo Grande's maximum security prison, an unusual event occurred. A mysterious video that has appeared online shows something strange, packages falling from the sky. However, these aren't normal packages. They contain illegal items. This bold move is surprising, especially in a place known for tight security. As the video continues, the tension increases, raising questions about who is behind this and what's inside the packages. The video is recorded by an inmate, suggesting that phones are being smuggled into the prison. A small issue at the Sandoval County Detention Center in New Mexico escalated into a full-blown riot. It started when 9 inmates refused to leave the TV area and go back to their cells. As more corrections officers arrived, the inmates didn't move, but began to take off their shirts and cover their faces with them. Realizing the situation was getting out of hand, the officers retreated and called in a task force. The task force arrived quickly, but the inmates weren't intimidated. When officers tried to use tear gas, the inmates blocked the door with blankets and pulled them away. The officers managed to get a flash bomb inside, but the inmates fought back by spilling soapy water on the floor and throwing objects, including a microwave. Despite another attempt with tear gas, the inmates blocked the door with a barrel. Finally, the officers used a more powerful blast that dispersed the inmates and ended the riot. Body camera footage shows Orange County Sheriff's officers responding to a hostage scenario inside the county jail. The officers quickly and forcefully entered the room where the hostage was being held and rescued the hostage safely. Demonstrating courage and professionalism, the Orange County Sheriff's officers effectively dealt with the threat, ensuring everyone's safety and bringing peace back to the jail. The CCTV cameras inside the Piraquara custody house recorded a shocking event when a normal cell check turned into a hostage situation. The video shows 2 jail guards getting ready to inspect a cell. One guard opens the door while the other holds a weapon. Suddenly, 3 inmates come out of the cell for the inspection, but as one officer walks in, the inmates quickly go back inside their cell. Despite the other guard discharging his weapon to stop them, the inmates were able to take the guard hostage. Chaos erupted in a Brazilian prison when inmates took control, determined to be heard. A specific group of prisoners took over, driven by a strong desire to escape. The intense moment was captured on camera, showing the inmates' calculated move to take 10 people hostage as part of their escape plan. Armed with knives, they climbed to the prison roof, setting up a dramatic standoff. As time passed, the inmates tightened their grip, intimidating the hostages by physically restraining them. The tension escalated as the inmates made it clear they were serious about their threat to throw captives off the roof. Fortunately, the guards managed to restore order in the prison. A shocking video from Altamira Prison in Para shows a dramatic escape caught on camera, which has surfaced online. It's a brief clip showing 3 inmates running away, pursued by what seems to be law enforcement officers. The inmates find a ladder and quickly climb over a nearby fence in a bid for freedom. Although the inmates in the video managed to escape, it's uncertain if they were caught later. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can stay updated with our latest videos.